Hello, I'm Kingerton,
And I'm Big Red Boy.
and together we're the hosts of the Take It Away, Red.
Mario Creators Podcast.
So, Red, would you consider yourself um, a pillar of the Mario Maker 2 community?
Well, I'm not sure I'd go that far. But I've made a few levels, have few super worlds uploaded and stuff like that.
Wow, amazing.
It's pretty amazing. So, Kink, would you consider yourself king of the SMW community?
Um, yeah.
Wow. Amazing.
Mm-hmm. So Red, can you tell our audience what our podcast is about? Like what we're going for here?
Well, I'm not sure what we're going for, but I know what we're setting out to do.
That's interesting. Please continue.
Right now, there's a divide between the SMW community and the Super Mario Maker 2 community, which kind of bums me out.
Yeah, me too.
But in the core of it all, I feel like there's something fundamental that both sides can agree on.
What's up?
Fun Mario levels.
Exactly, dude. That's kind of what I was thinking, but I didn't know if you were gonna go the same way.
You know?
See, I don't know. Like when I tell people about the podcast, like my neighbor or like my pastor or like my teacher or something, they kind of like scoff at me. They kind of snicker behind my back rather. Um, they roll their eyes a lot because they think the podcast is just gonna be about like what, like Mario levels. Like we're just gonna talk about Mario levels. Like
Yeah.
I don't know.
That's probably what they think. And they just don't get that we're trying to get deep. We're trying to get very deep and dig into the roots of what this cauldron of fine odors presents.
Dude, wouldn't it be kind of funny if we like dug so deep we found ourselves right in the middle of a canyon?
That would be a problem.
Yes, I mean, yeah, that would be a problem, but we're not only making canyons here, we're also building bridges.
Are you talking about the bridge that we're trying to build between the SMW and Super Mario Maker 2 communities?
Exactly. You read me like a book.
Wow.
All right, welcome back to another episode of the Mario Creators Podcast. We have a pretty good show for you today. We're sitting here with the incredible Paco, who is a Twitch live streamer and YouTube creator. He also made a ROM hack, what, 2018, I think?
Was it
2019?
19 maybe? 19, 18? No, 18. 19? I think 19.
19. Called
Yeah.
Super Combros 3. It was a SMB 3 ROM hack. How you doing, Paco?
I am doing pretty good. Thank you for having me on.
Yeah, it's my pleasure.
Happy to have you.
Red, do you
I
have
was
some-
actually
sorry?
listening to the first episode with Real Balchinian,
Oh.
and then you reached out to me like a day or two later, and you're like, "Yo, would you be interested?" And I was like, "Yeah." I mean, I think this is a really cool idea. So
Yeah, see, it hasn't been done before, which is like something I was
Yeah.
kind of shocked about because there's like so much untapped potential. Because everyone wants to hear from their favorite Mario creators and stuff.
are you suggesting I'm somebody's favorite Mario creator?
Oh, maybe.
Somebody out there.
Maybe
Yeah.
out there, yeah.
Yeah. Personally, I don't want to get too sentimental here. All right, I
Yeah.
got to for a second, but you're the reason
Good.
I got into Twitch actually.
Oh wow.
Yeah,
I
saw
think you actually told me that like 2 years ago or 3 years
probably.
ago.
Yeah.
But that's actually really neat. Whenever I hear stuff like that, that's super cool.
It was like
Yeah.
circa 2019. I made a level based on a level in Grand Poo World 2. And you played it, and you're like, oh, that's a pretty neat level. I'm gonna give this guy a follow. And I was like, I need to check out this guy's live stream.
I remember following your levels too, yeah, and then I played a bunch of stuff from you. You had a fun style.
Yeah.
Stuck out.
Try to
Right
model it after, like, I don't even know what you'd call that. Like the early 2017 Kaizo.
Traditional Kaizo.
Yeah.
Traditional platforming Kaizo. And
Yeah,
that's the kind of stuff I like. There's too much, like never touch the ground again, which I actually really like that genre too. But there's something about the like classic that just it hits the spot.
Right.
the only negative thing I have with the classic ROM hack style is the just disgusting amount of Kaizo blocks everywhere. But
That that's true. That's true. And I think Kaizo blocks are funny, but the number of people who I trust to place Kaizo blocks, I could put them on, like one hand.
mhm.
I feel like freaking Ha does a really, really good job. Like some people, strike a good balance, but then yeah, sometimes people just put miserable blocks and then uh
we we were actually
yeah.
gonna mention freaking hot because so I was watching the playthrough of Super Combros for like I think ESA was the charity event or something like that where you were doing commentary and Haxer was
Haxor
doing
was
a
right. Yep.
yeah. And you mentioned that freaking Ha helped you out a lot with, the technical stuff and getting everything going. Um, Describe your relationship with him. You guys seem like you're good friends, or at least
Yeah, no,
helpers.
Ha is a homie. Like he's one of the people, who whether I'm streaming or not, I'm talking to him, seeing how it's going. I play tested his hack, which actually came out I think maybe like 6 or 8 months before mine, and then he helped me with mine. But honestly, out of people who I've met since I joined the Mario community, um, that dude is awesome. Like one of the coolest people I've met, and he's been an inspiration for me in terms of level creation style. I wouldn't say I make levels that are similar to him, but I feel like whenever I play stuff that he's made, it inspires me to try make fun
Definitely.
stuff.
I
But
know
yeah, no, shout outs to freaking hot. Like that dude is
Yeah.
I know a
he's
few
awesome.
creators that try to mimic freaking Hot's style, specifically people like Fry and B and Simply Awful have both made ROM hacks kind of
Yeah.
centered around the Riff World
I think a lot of
style.
people in the Super Mario Maker 2 community right now would like refer to that as like the ROM hack style or
So
something,
the
just because it has
classic ROM hack feel, yeah.
right.
I
But just because it has like platforming and like some shell stuff, but like it's kind of broken up. There's a feel to it for sure, but
Yeah, I also have to give him, so much credit for the attention to detail that he has. Whether
mhm.
it's a Mario Maker level or his ROM hack. Like his ROM hack, I think Rift 2, he was working on that for over 2 years.
Wow.
He'll play a level if something doesn't feel right or something can be better. He'll keep working away at it, and I feel like stuff like that is inspiring. Getting it right. Um, so yeah,
Right.
he's I think you guys were gonna ask me at some point, like who's my favorite creator or like who's an inspiration.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But 100% at the top of my list, it's freaking high.
Yeah, I hear that. Like creators that you can tell just spend a lot of time like making things like a little bit smoother or just, flow better. And
Yeah,
yeah.
and even Calm Bros, for example, there would be certain setups where he was like, what if you shifted everything to the right one? And I try it out, and sure enough, it plays better. And so,
Yep.
just having him look over the hack as I was making it, helping me along the way. I don't think Calm Bros would have actually. I know it wouldn't have been nearly as good without him. You know,
Awesome. Yeah. So hold on. Like
working in
you
the shadows.
yeah, so you met him through the community. Like how did you guys meet?
So he came to my stream. It was through Twitch. So there's some people that found me through YouTube. There's some people that found me through Twitch. And he found me through my stream. And I used to play his levels all the time. And
Mhm.
then we started chatting on Discord. Chatting outside of streaming, and just kind of went from there. Although I
Yeah,
think I'm trying to think, I'm pretty sure the first time he saw me was on Twitch. He might have seen my YouTube content. I'm not sure, but that's pretty much how I met him
I've met quite a few people that way actually. That's kind of like the way to do it.
for sure.
So on the topic of Twitch, when did you start streaming?
Okay, so Like streaming on Twitch or just streaming in general?
Streaming in general.
Okay, streaming in general, I want to say maybe 2013. I turned my stream on. I played a bit of Terraria. I played maybe Rust, but I wasn't really, I wouldn't call myself a streamer. I would just say at that point, I streamed. I had a few people who watched. It
Yeah.
wasn't until 2015, I guess fall 2015, that I started taking it more seriously. But my first streams, if you go back to like my oldest clips, there's probably some for me, 2013. But I didn't start really getting into streaming until 2015, and that was around the time when Mario Maker was dropping. So
Yeah.
my
So,
streaming sort of overlapped with that.
and that's like when you decided to take it more seriously. Was that because of Mario Maker 2?
No,
Or
so
sorry, Mario Maker 1?
no, so at the time, YouTube gaming had just dropped. I kind of wanted to get into streaming, and I thought to myself, new platform. Um, you can start from scratch, but try to build something up there. And I actually had a lot of success really early on. Like within a month or two of streaming, I had probably like 300 people watching my streams on YouTube.
Wow.
Um, and then I was streaming Mario, and it was going well. I actually started with H1Z1, and then I would do 2 streams a day, and I would do either H1 in the afternoon and then Mario at night, or vice versa. And I was really lucky to get that quick start. Um,
What's H1Z1?
so it was this awful, awful battle royale survival game where like 150 people drop in,
Oh,
and
okay.
then you loot up, shoot up, and it it was so bad that it was good. It was like every week there would be a new glitch. For about a week, if you threw a Molotov, the game would crash for like anybody in the vicinity. And it had open mic, so it was super toxic, but also kind of funny. It
Mhm.
was a bad game, but it was also a fun experience.
Like it's like the Wild West. That's why it's kind of
Pretty
fun.
much, it was the wild, wild west, and I kind of like stuff like that.
That was
Yeah, for
one
sure.
of the like the early battle royale games. That predates PUBG, I think.
Yeah, that was before PUBG. I think the guy who made PUBG made the mod for H1, and then he did the standalone.
Yeah,
I didn't
Player
like
Unknown.
I didn't like PUBG though. That game was too slow, too boring. Loot up for 30 minutes, get shot from somebody who doesn't even render on your screen.
Yeah, and the maps are
Yeah.
just beyond huge. You hardly see anybody.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was like a running simulator until you got popped off.
Yep.
But H1 was my jam.
What are your thoughts on Fortnite?
I never got into it, and it's mostly because of the building, and then,
Yeah.
at the time that I played it, the gun accuracy. Like, I kind of like games where if you shoot at people, the bullets go mostly straight, or at least if they don't go straight, you can anticipate it. But they had it where you could be like clicking on someone, and it would be RNG on whether it hit, and just didn't really grab my attention. Although on the note
Okay.
of Fortnite, I actually played Fortnite in 2014.
So
Um,
back before it was cool.
oh no, I played it before it was even released. Before I don't even know if it was called Fortnite. I went to Epic Games for um, Unreal Tournament 4 playtesting because I used to be really into the Unreal Tournament scene. And the devs one day were like, "Yo, you guys got to sign an NDA, but you can check out this game we're working on." And if you asked me then if I thought Fortnite would have been like the biggest game to drop, I would have been like, hell no. But they did pretty well for themselves.
Because it was like a zombie defense game, and
Yeah,
then
it was like single player, and then the single player I remember, I think it was pretty underwhelming. It didn't really take off, and all
right.
of a sudden they battle royalified it, and everybody went crazy for it.
I
I heard
didn't
that.
like it at first. I'm sorry.
Oh no, go for it.
I was gonna say I didn't like Fortnite at first, and then but recently they kind of added better guns with sights so you can like ADS properly.
Didn't
And
they also get rid of building
yes,
as
they
well?
did, and they added a whole
Yeah,
bunch of
just
different
recently.
mechanics like sliding and climbing. There's like a more parkour element similar to like Apex.
The
Huh.
only reason I know that is because the ads were just insane on Twitch recently, just like
Well,
one after another. No build version of Fortnite.
the newer Fortnite is more reminiscent of Apex. I don't know if you ever got into that.
I think I downloaded it and played it once, but I never really got into it. The only other shooter I was playing recently was Warzone,
Right.
but then they updated it to the new map, which is awful, and I'm pretty much not shooting the guns these days. I just, I've been actually working on some Mario 3 ROM hacks, and other than that, I'm not
Oh,
really gaming too much.
really? That's
Do you
Yeah.
awesome.
wanna talk about that, or is that a?
I mean, it's not really top secret or anything. I have probably 30 exits done between two
Jesus.
games,
That's
but
wild.
one of them I want it to be, like traditional style game, multi routes, multi path, super casual, like anybody can pick it up and play it. And then the other one is a very light Kaizo. So Calm Bros, I think if you play Kaizo and Mario Maker, you can pick up Calm Bros. It's kind of gonna kick your ass a bit, but I want to make one that's even easier than that. So that's just what I've been working on. No ETA on release. I've actually been working on these levels for the past, 2.5 years. Whenever I feel inspired, I start making. Maybe I could crank out like 4 exits in 2 weeks, and then I don't make anything for like 3-4 months.
That's such a long time span. Like when I made my Super World, it was like I just got to do this or I'll never get back to it. But I'm curious to see how it, like if I just said I'm gonna make a Super World and I'm just gonna like do it when I feel inspired and like just
So So yeah, I was gonna say the cool thing about the time span is sometimes you look back at something you made and you're like, oh, this is just not up to standard. And even Calm Bros. So Calm Bros, I probably worked on that for about 2 years, and
Mhm.
I made probably 6 different versions of 1-1 that I would go back and I'd be like, no, this sucks. Like this can't be the opening level, and I
Right.
would scrap it and do another one. And then I'd be like, oh, this is pretty cool. And as I get closer to release and I'm playing through the game, I'm like, this is not a very good 1-1 for the game. And so when you work on projects like these long term,
Mhm.
um, some of the stuff that you thought was all right when you go back and play it when you don't have the muscle memory or just after some time, a lot of the stuff you might make, you might be like, oh, I can improve this or I should scrap it. At
I
least
feel
that's
like
how
that
it is for me.
right. I feel like that could go like two ways, right? You could either like just release the most perfect ROM hack that's ever existed, or you could just keep doing that infinitely until you're like, because you're never happy with it or
Oh
something.
yeah, I mean, at a certain point, you have to let it go.
Yep.
Um, but yeah, I don't know. It's just interesting sometimes going back to things that you made, like a year in the past, and
Yep.
then if you still like it, you can say to yourself, "Yo, this is a pretty good level," and if you don't, then it's back to the drawing board. And I
Right.
actually feel pretty happy about Combros. In Mario Maker, almost every level I've uploaded, even the ones that are good, like I have a lot of trash levels. There's usually some regret, whereas in Calm Bros, out of all the exits, there's maybe, like 2 or 3 regrets. So
Yeah.
I'm pretty happy about that.
That's a
I
pretty good.
I
That's a
I,
pretty
I,
low
I
number.
expected more regret.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's like it's a pretty low number for, like I look back at some of the stuff I've created and it's like there's always like somebody's like constantly dying at something and you're just like, oh gosh, that should have just been like one tile, whatever, to the left
Yeah,
or something.
for sure. And I mean, so my rule of thumb too when I make is if I ever have a setup that I can't get consistently or I'm not getting it like almost every time, I
Hmm.
nerf it. Because if the creator is not getting it, consistently, then, I don't want to dump that on the player.
Amen.
So
Yeah.
That's
that's one of my philosophies that I've been employing. Although, man, if
same.
you saw my 2016 levels, I did not follow that at all.
Yeah.
Right.
Back in 2015, I remember I pre-ordered Mario Maker 1. I was 14 at the time. I was just a little boy, And I was definitely a little Timmy. I was making the 99% impossible levels. I was making the one tile.
You are the reason Mario Maker 1 was so good.
Wow.
Shoutouts to the Timmies. Honestly, as like everybody loves dunking on the Timmies, but the Timmy levels are what makes Mario worth watching and playing, in my opinion. Like, don't get me wrong, I love the good levels, but without the Timmy levels, it's just not the same thing.
Right. You have to have some of the
Although,
bad with the good.
yeah.
They're still around, I will say. They haven't gone anywhere.
but this is the problem. The Timmys haven't gone anywhere, but Nintendo buffed the Timmys. The Timmys didn't need to be buffed. Like they were plenty buffed in Mario Maker 1, and then Mario Maker 2 is now like, "Oh, but you can't download the level. You can't jump over spikes." And Timmys love spike. And all this cool tech you could do. I thought Mario 1 was a good balance between once you mastered the game, even the most BS level made by a Timmy, good players would find cute solutions.
Right.
Whereas Mario Maker 2, I feel like they took away a lot of those cute solutions and it became a lot more linear and miserable. So,
I hear you.
I yeah, it's one of those subjects. Like, I actually really like Mario Maker 2. I feel like if people hear me talk about it, they'd be like, wow, Paco, real negative about it. I just think that Mario Maker 1 did some things, better. And I think, Mario Maker 2, there's too many things to master. And it's just so hard to counter the Timmy if they hide a good dev block.
Yeah.
There's so many things they can do. And with also, for example, screen lock, I would say screen lock helps good creators make, better levels. But I would say that it hinders, cheesability of bad levels. So that's
Right.
like another trade-off where I would say they actually like improved the game with something like that, but they made it a worse experience when you're playing, little Timmy levels.
Red, you're a frequent flyer with the screen lock and the custom auto scroll. How do you
Right.
think? I don't mean to shift the interview here, but how do you think you would have adapted in Mario Maker 1 without those resources?
Oh God. I think a lot of my level style like revolves around that exact thing and like controlling the camera. So like, I don't know. I don't think I'd enjoy making Mario Maker 1 levels, to be
Well,
honest.
that kind of ties into my point though. Like, good creators use it to make good stuff. Also, I didn't say it at the beginning. Big Red Boy, where did you come from? Like I see your levels on Twitter, or like I'm watching Thab, I'm watching people playing your stuff. You make some of the coolest levels I've ever seen. I gotta
Thanks. I didn't
I
know
gotta
that
give you
you knew
props.
about me.
Like when it no, of course I do. I mean, whenever I saw your stuff though, I'm like, where did this guy come from? I was trying to figure out if you had a different name in Mario Maker 1.
No, I
But
got
you
the
you
game.
make dope shit, dude. Like, really, really good. It
Thanks.
stands out. It's exceptional.
Thanks, man. No, it's I got it the week that Mario Maker 2 dropped. I was like super excited because I was watching a whole bunch of Carl uh troll levels. So like my first levels were all like just really trashy troll levels, and then
Ugh.
yeah, I know. And then I started getting into Kaizo and that whole thing, and eventually my levels stopped sucking and eventually became like stuff I enjoyed playing myself. So
I think everybody when they start, their levels suck. Like the best
yep.
level creators now, if you were to go back to their first couple levels, they stink.
Mhm.
100%. Like, there's not a
Yep.
single creator that, if you go back to their early stuff, it's very, unpolished. And that's something that I think is unfortunate because you see all sorts of people, they make their first, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 levels and they get really down on themselves. But it's like any creator who, you see their stuff now and it's good, nobody started good. You gotta
Right.
you gotta make some garbage or maybe not even garbage, just some mediocre or like kind of cool stuff, and then you keep working at it and it gets better. But I feel like too many creators get super down on themselves
For
and they
sure.
compare themselves to people who have, like hundreds or thousands of hours creating.
Yeah, like when you got to create in the beginning and just send it to a streamer and just listen to their feedback and like try not to just get like upset about the, you know,
So
their
I think
complaints.
I think the better creators can take the feedback, but I think a lot of people, I've seen so many people where I'm like, yo, I'm gonna be really honest with your level, and they're like, yo, I love honesty. And then you're really honest, and they're like, wow, that guy's an asshole. You know what I mean? But like
Yeah.
I think some people can take the criticism, And I also think, for example, not all criticism is valid. Like, I think
Exactly.
for me, when I make levels, I want other people to like them, but I feel like I'm the first person I'm trying to please. Like, I want to make something that I think is cool. So, like, let's say I get feedback, and the person who made it's like, no, this is what I was going for. I like this. Disregard what people say if you're, confident with what you made. But if you're actually looking for feedback, then it's a good idea to just see what people are saying. And even for me, I've seen some streamers, playing my levels and they hit rough patches and they're like, this isn't good. What about this? And it hurts to see it, but you can learn a lot from it.
Hmm.
Um, I'm even thinking there was a time Barb was playing one of my, I forget what it was called. It was some Super Mario World Bomb Kaizo back in maybe like 2017. And I was so proud of the level. And he went through and he got to this blind section where he just fell in a cliff. And he was like, what the fuck is this? And at first I was like, oh, you're supposed to hold right. But then I was like, oh no, like this is bad on me expecting the player, knowing where to go. And just by like watching people, things that you wouldn't have expected as a creator. Um, yeah, you can just learn a lot about, visibility, etc. And just
Definitely.
problems that players will run into.
The creator blindness curse when you're
Oh
making it
yeah.
and you're just like, oh yeah, this is obvious that you should do this. And
And I mean, even now, I still run into it from time to time.
Mhm.
But I think I've gotten a lot better, over the years. If you saw the first level I ever made, it starts with a controlled blind, shell ricochet jump. And I was like, oh, this is intuitive. And then I watched, like 5, 10 people play it and nobody's making it out of the starting blocks. And I learned it was not intuitive.
Yeah, I mean that's how you learn.
Yeah.
I kept my original levels up. I know, Red, you deleted all your
Yeah,
OG levels.
a
I
lot of
kept
them.
all of mine up. Well, I kept one of them up. I kept the very first level I ever made in Mario Maker 2, and it is unplayable. Red, you played
I
it the one time.
I,
Yeah.
I think that's good though. That's history, You
Yeah,
Exactly.
that's what I was saying.
you
That's what I
keep
was
the
Testing
saying.
good
it.
with the bad. Like it's funny to go back and see where people started, and it's also interesting. I think so.
Yeah, true. But I was also like thinking like, what if I wasn't like known at all at the time, and I'm like, what if somebody gets this in endless, and then this is their idea of like who I am as a maker? And I guess it doesn't really matter, but
I think
it's
that's
funny.
hilarious.
Yeah, I guess.
I don't even think about that. As I said, I've made some really really bad levels, and I actually don't feel bad when people get them in endless. That's what happens. You sign up to play endless, or you sign up to play 100 Mario. It's pretty much a giant game of football in the groin. And if my level happens to be that football going into the groin, I think that's hilarious.
That's fair. Yeah, no, that's a good point.
Uh,
Yeah, the way that I look at it, I give the player three one ups, typically somewhere in the level, and that's my contribution to the endless players.
you
I
give
don't
him
make
three
it.
one ups, but you're taking 30 lives,
Yep.
so it's a trade off.
But I gave them, three one ups, so my duty is fulfilled for the good of the community.
Nice.
Mhm.
And nobody complains ever about any of my levels because they get the three one ups. Except Dan G got one of my levels in Endless, and he booed it live
Yeah,
on
he
stream.
did.
A live booing, yo, that's an honor.
And then he went back and beat it, and he was like, "I'm sorry, Kinkerton, I should have liked that. It was a salt boo."
I
It's
think
Yeah,
like,
salty
speaking.
boos are fine. People get too, they take it too personally.
oh yeah, I salt boo all the time. I didn't really care. That's
I
just their maker points.
I give hearts to the worst levels. Sometimes I'll boo good levels because I got
Mhm.
salty. I think can't take them too seriously.
Yeah.
It's a crime of passion.
I like pretty
Exactly.
much every level that I find in Endless, unless it's like really, really bad. If I beat it, I'll give it a like, typically.
That's
But
actually something I've done. Where I'm playing endless. If I beat it, I like it, and I beat some just awful levels where people were like, "How could you like that?" It's like, look,
yeah.
I'm a simple man.
And then I
Yeah, I
watch
was,
like other streamers who boo every single level they get because they died to something that was completely in their control, and it's like, that's a great level. Why are you booing it? I don't know.
yeah.
I think the older players specifically have maybe a little bit more leniency in terms of what they'll allow, just because of how Mario Maker 1 was when it first started, in terms of how
Yeah.
spoiled we are now.
Okay,
The,
I gotta
the
talk
taste of
about
the
how
poison.
spoiled. I gotta talk about how spoiled we are. I feel like the player base needs every single thing marked, and it drives me crazy. You know, it's like, where is the Z? You know, where is the box? Where is this?
Yep.
I mean, if people want to put them, I think that's fine. Personally, I think levels look so much cooler, you know, without being completely marked out. But I can't stand that, you know, people are complaining, you know, like, why is this not marked? It's like, well, I don't know. Why can't you react to what the level's presenting you?
We need to
Yeah.
reference the famous Big Red Boy meme here. Hang on.
Have you seen that, by the way? This meme?
I'm posting it
I'd have to see it. Yeah.
in the text chat. That is the famous Big Red Boy meme. 505
I have seen
likes.
that. I have seen that, yeah. Yeah, no Z indicator. Z indicator. But yeah, I mean, I just don't get it. There's like a spiny or there's a piranha, and people are like, "Where's the Z?" And it's like, well, I mean, use your eyes. Like, what are you
Right.
trying to go through?
Remember, I did
It
that in
only
the
makes
level.
sense.
Sorry.
No, I was just gonna say it only makes sense when you're like you can't see it or like you don't really know what's coming up. Like you're gonna spin on the like thing that you can normally jump on, but then like later on you're gonna need to be in spin state or else you're dead. You know what I mean? Like then I
So
feel like it's fine.
oh, it's fine. I mean, I have no problem with it, but I also think that, you know, a lot of obstacles, like if the player can't see what to do, then maybe redesign around, you know, what they can see.
Yep,
Um,
that too.
that's just kind of my philosophy. Like if there's something blind in my level, it's just, you know, hold right and jump. Otherwise, also, I will say, like, if you're making a moderately tricky level and, you know, they run into, like, one or two blind things, you know, it's Mario Kaizo. You're gonna die. Next time you're there, you should remember it's a spin or it's whatever.
Right.
Um, but that's just kind of my philosophy. I know a lot of people would disagree.
Well, I think it's just different between Mario Maker and SMW. And I said this on the podcast before, but like the downtime and the death screen, like it's just so punishing for death. Like people are so less tolerant of deaths in Mario Maker because of just how it pulls you out of the whole atmosphere. Where
Yeah, I'll agree. I guess from my perspective as a streamer, that's like perfect time to look over or talk with chat, you know, a bit of downtime while it's resetting.
for
But I
sure.
guess if you're playing true, but I guess that also goes back into, you know, level philosophy. Like I'll never start my level with something that's gonna kill the player right away. Um,
Hmm.
I like I like the player to get sort of a bit of a rhythm before they're gonna run into something more challenging. Just so if they do die, you know, they're not just, you know, start screen, you know, punishing thing where they die, start screen, etc.
Right.
I think stuff like that is helpful to, you know, make it less painful every time you gotta reset the level.
I
And
used to be
so
really gatekeepy like that. Like, put a really hard trick right at the beginning. But lately I've been trying to start the level off smooth and then slowly ramp up in difficulty. I feel people enjoy this kind of levels more.
Well,
yes.
it's also you like lure the player in and they're like, "Oh, this is a fun level." And then, you know, you hit them with the football in the groin like once they're committed.
Yep. It's like
That's
fishing in a
yeah,
way.
exactly. You got to bait them first, and then you know once they've got through 70% of the level, they're committed, and you can throw pretty much anything at them. Whereas if you throw it at them on the first obstacle, they might just be like, "Yo, whatever, go on to the next one."
Hmm. Put a practice door in front of it or whatever.
Yeah, I don't think I've actually ever done a practice store. I'm trying to
Really?
think. I don't think I've done it. I haven't made too many levels in Mario Maker 2. I think I've only made something like 20. And a couple of them are really dumb versus ones.
You have something against them or something?
Um, I think it's out of principle. Like practice stores are our way of compensating for Nintendo not letting us go into editor.
Right.
And I just feel like okay, so you reset the level, you know, even just the time going through the door to get to the area. I feel like if a level's hard enough that I need practice stores, I don't really want to grind it out. Whereas
Fair.
in Mario Maker 1, I'd grind out like a 1 in 10,000 level. I'd spend, 6+ hours on some levels. Like I enjoyed grinding, but
Hmm.
it's because, if I wanted to go into editor and practice a section, I can do that. Whereas, practice stores feels like a downgrade to that. And so usually if a level is too hard that it needs practice stores, it's just, for me personally, it's not that interesting.
You
And
know,
that's just because of, Nintendo removing the editor.
this came up in my head the other day, and I forgot to write it down. But I want because I know you're like a huge endless player. I'm wondering what you think of the new tool that kind of was developed to see the levels. I think it's called like Level Viewer.
I think it's
Uh,
good. So I haven't actually used it outside of, I've seen people posting like screen caps, etc. But
mhm.
I think it's good, especially going back to what I was saying about the Timmies being buffed and the ways you can come up with impossible levels. I think it's a good counter to it. But I think it's so sad that we need third-party tools to try replicate the fun experience of Mario Maker 1.
Mhm.
Um, I think Mario Maker 1 was a success because of the community. Like Nintendo gave us the game and, the players made it what it was. But I don't think they understood really what made the game fun for people. And I think that's why, Mario Maker 2 sputtered out faster than 1 did, in my opinion.
For sure.
Yeah,
Yeah.
a lot of people say that Mario Maker 2 is kind of, I guess, dead. I've heard Thab say it. I've heard a few other streamers say it. And if Thab
As
says
long
it,
as
it's
As,
true.
yeah, I mean, I feel like games being quote unquote dead. I mean, I played Unreal Tournament where I was playing with a community of 300 people. 15 years after the game came out, and I feel like as long as there's people playing, it's not dead. But I feel like the spirit has been broken.
Right.
It's not dead, but the spirit is broken, in my opinion. And I think it's just ultimately, you look at Nintendo and they just don't really care what people think. It's not like they're taking
Yeah.
feedback like, "Oh, we should do this," or "Oh, maybe introduce that." They won't even broadcast, why they made decisions. Like, why are spikes pixel perfect now?
Yep.
Like that's
Yeah.
that's something that really took away from the game, in my opinion. Lack of editor, spikes, just a bunch of decisions where if they listen to the players who are playing their game for, thousands and thousands of hours, people might be like, hey, why'd you do this?
Hmm.
But
And like, they completely just crapped on the troll community. Like they just delete every single troll level that ever gets uploaded, pretty much. And
oh,
it's
for
just
sure.
a tragedy because those levels, as I don't really like playing them, but I like watching Carl play them or whatever on YouTube, and they're so brilliant. Like the amount of work those take to make is like months and months just for a single troll level.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. I respect those levels. I hate them though.
Yeah.
But but as much as I hate them, I hate that Nintendo deletes them.
right.
People put a lot of work into it. It's fun. Clearly there's an audience that enjoys it. You know, I think people should be able to make whatever they want, whether it's, Team Lido or, troll levels. I hate both those categories, but, if people like them, they should be able to make them, upload them.
Yeah, I'm baffled that anybody enjoys a Team Lita level, but there's people who do. So
What is that?
Yeah, I made a rule where if I ever get like a Lido squad level in endless, it's like that's just an auto skip, I
yeah,
tried doing no skips for a while because that's what I did in Mario Maker 1. But then I found I was just miserable. And so I made a list of, types of levels or creators that I skip. And Lido's a good dude, but I'm not playing his levels.
right,
So for
right.
someone who doesn't know basically anything about the team scene in Mario Maker 2, what is Team Lido?
Lido Squad. It's not even a team.
Yeah, it's
Oh.
a squad. It's not a team. Sorry, that was my
Yeah.
mistake for planting that
Oh.
seed. So pretty much, I mean, anybody can make a team. You just say you're like team whatever, and then the team will have a theme, and then people upload, levels for that team. Some people even track stuff like they'll give points to levels where, if you beat this level, you get X amount of points, and people will keep leaderboards of how you're doing on like Team Precision or Team Shell or Lido Squad or whatever. And I mean, I think it's fine. I I don't really partake. I feel like the only good team was Team Pipe. Shoutouts to Team Pipe, Yarmo, all the OGs. That was probably the best team in I think like the first team.
Why
I'm
is that?
surprised you didn't say like team midair because of how good you were at midairs.
I was okayish at best at midairs, but no, I hated team midair. So I thought doing a midair was a very satisfying trick. But then these people would have these like do 45 midairs with like a mini midair and just all sorts of stuff. And then those went on my skip list at the end of Mario Maker 1.
What were you gonna say, Red?
Um, I kind of forget.
It was
Well,
something about why something about Team Pipe.
oh yeah, why Team Pipe? Yeah.
Why Team Pipe? I think that was just the first time I ever really saw a team, and so the theme of Team Pipe would be you just build a level, which you predominantly use pipes as the background,
Mm-hmm.
and there were a lot of cool creators like Yarmo, Hoagie, um, forgetting a bunch of people, but there were a bunch of people who were contributing to the Team Pipe aesthetic,
Mm-hmm.
and I was a bit rebellious at the time. I made Team Tube. Team Tube never really got off the never got off the ground, and all these years later, I will admit Team Pipe was the better team. Um,
Wow.
but yeah, it was
Huge.
there was there was just cool creators that were making under that team.
Pipe
So,
aesthetic is so good.
speaking of things that you started, do you want to talk about Get Peach or Die Trying? Explain what that is or what that was at the time.
Sure. So Get Peach or Die Trying. I think the first one was 2017. And so I always thought that, Mario Maker should have more races. And at the time, there were a couple. Kaizo Holics had run a bunch of races. They ran like Kaizo Wars. Shoutouts to Mumbo Shots. Shoutouts to Elo, all those guys. But then there was a bit of a lull where there weren't too many races going on. And I wanted to make a race. So the way it worked was you would start with 16 racers, and each round, I think 4 people got eliminated. So there was about 4 or 5 rounds. I forget how many in each one, but you would start with 16 racers, and they would be given 4 levels, like one of SMB1, SMB3, Super Mario World, and NSMB. And then they would be given all 4 levels at the same time, and the last 4 to finish the 4 levels would get eliminated, and you would go on to the next round. And so the first one was actually won by Thab. It was the finals of Thab versus Shun. And then the second one was actually a rematch where Shun ended up winning that one. And it was a fun race to put together. I had Mr. Grins co-commenting with me, and then I also got a bunch of just really cool creators to make levels for it. And we probably worked on them for about 5 months. Just I would play test a level. I was pretty much the judge on it because I didn't want levels that were too hard or too easy, and so I wanted levels that a competent player could beat it in under 10 minutes. That was pretty much the theme because I feel like once you get too hard, it's difficult for people to race because people get stuck, and
Yeah.
I would rather have levels be too easy than too hard, and so that was kind of the philosophy behind it. But it was a lot of fun putting it together. And I got to shout out all the creators who made levels for it. Without them, there's no race.
Well, there's quite a few here. I'm going through the Kaizo wiki page for the event. Frankie DG, Butcher, Fritzif, Freaking Ha, Wilson Penn, Yopoyo.
Riley C.
Yeah, all these creators really good, and so lots of these people were people I knew through my community or people who I'd played their levels, and I just reached out to them and I pitched them on the idea, and yeah, they all made really cool, really fun stuff. And yeah, just hearing that it gets me sentimental for the races. Like it was a really fun time.
Yeah, should do it again. I mean, it's a
Yeah, I
cool
was gonna
idea.
say, is that something you'd consider doing again in the future?
Absolutely. So I actually I actually had one planned or 2 years ago. But then I got sick, and then in the meantime, all the people have, I think, since uploaded their levels. Just because I told them, I said, I'd like to pick it up again at some point, but I'll let you guys know when I'm gonna do it. And everybody was pretty cool about it. So it was something that was underway. It's something that I'd like to do again in the future. Just no ETAs on it.
My recommendation, if it means anything, pick up Big Red Boy for a creator. He'd make
A
some of
hundred,
the
a hundred
best.
percent, 100%. I mean, I'm telling you right now, if I ever do any events, I will 100% hit you up.
For sure. Yeah, I'd be down. I'm doing a similar thing right now with GDQ. Like they ask me to be like the level curator for and get like a set of levels together for the race. The what is it called? Relay race.
Yep.
And yeah, it's hard to kind of go through and have people like test everybody's levels and tell them like, yeah, this isn't like this part's good, but this part's not like really great for a race because there's like a lot of waiting and
Yeah. And I think just the most important thing, because especially they usually have time limits, you just don't want any section that people will get stuck on.
yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's kind of what we're realizing too. Like during playtesting, I'm like, if I'm stuck on a section for more than like whatever 10 minutes, I'm just like, no, this has to be changed or
Yeah.
shortened up or whatever.
Yeah. I think it's just always better to err on the side of caution.
I
Hmm.
don't play a lot of Mario Maker 2. I'm more of an SMW guy, and Red told me to play his GDQ level, and that is the most intuitive. I wouldn't say easy, but it's one of
Oh
the most
shucks.
intuitive levels. Yeah, I don't mean to keep hyping you up here. I don't want your ego to get too big.
Yeah, please don't.
But they're gonna have such a fun time with that level. I can't wait to watch it live.
Well, there's 12 levels or 13 now, and we got to knock it down to 8. So like some people are gonna not make it, and hopefully I'm one of the. Hopefully I'll get in. I'm assuming I'll
I
get in.
can't imagine a world where they don't pick that level.
Right. Well, I like hired not hired, but like I got together like a group of judges now because like the original plan. So we're like going on a tangent, but I think it's interesting. The original plan was to have every creator judge each other's levels and then rank them like one through however many creators there are. And then we'll like discuss amongst each other. But I feel like I got 3 DMs when I proposed that were like, I'm not comfortable with this. Like, people are gonna be mad when they see I gave them the worst score ever or something. So I was like, all right, I'm just gonna have a separate group of people that has no stake in this, and they're just gonna rate them, and that'll be the list. So
Nice.
yeah. I think that's the best way to go about it. I don't know. What did you
Yeah.
do for yours? Did you just like I guess you had the exact amount, so you didn't really have to like
Yeah, but I ruled with an iron fist. Like if somebody made something that was unacceptable, I would just be like, no, this is not
right.
this is not making the cut. Fortunately, everybody, like I did send a few people back to the drawing board, but I think everybody but one person made the deadline. But what I had people do too was because, it's better to have more maps than less maps. I had, backup map. And people were chill enough to make a map that, right, a level where if we didn't have enough, I could tap in. Like if we need an SMW level, I could pick one from the bunch. And then after the race, we ended up just releasing, the full level packs, backup levels, etc. And
Or
a lot of them got burned. So I think people were happy.
got burned. I don't
As
know
in,
that
like
term.
people were playing them.
Oh, gotcha. They got
So
hype.
like we would release, like these were the levels in the race, these were the backup levels, and a lot of people were going through just playing everything.
That's awesome. It's kind of like the X Your Mario Maker, but just like more difficult, I guess.
Yeah, and it was really not that tough. As I said, most levels, you know, like Thab and Shun were beating most of them in, 2-3 minutes. Some other people, I think the longest people were taking was closer to, 8-9.
Mm-hmm.
But again, I just feel like for the sake of a race, you want to watch people making progress. Um, you don't want to watch people die to the same obstacle, like 150 times in a row.
Right.
At least I don't want to.
No, yeah, totally. It just kind of kills the whole like excitement of the race.
Yeah, it's just tough.
So you've been kind of going looking at Super Mario Maker 1 in these rose-colored glasses. What do you think is like a cool addition that they added to Super Mario Maker 2?
I like all the themes they added. I like the enemies they added. I so when I talk about like the rose tinted glasses, I understand that Mario Maker 1 was an awful game. It was the perfect level of awful.
Right.
And Mario Maker 2 is just it's a really really good game. I just wish they kept the stuff from Mario Maker 1 that made it what it was. Like I wish they kept the same engine for the most part, and like hitboxes and throw release. But for Mario Maker 2, I would say just the different themes and the different enemies. I liked all that. It was fresh. It was fun. I even liked the SMB1 power ups, like the SMB2, the Zelda power up.
Yeah.
All that stuff was really cool, really fresh.
That's like something I still need to like play around with. Like I've made like one Zelda level in like all the years it's been out still, and I'm just like, it's still untapped. Like what you can do with that power up.
Oh yeah, there's so much. But so I think that Zelda Kaizo, personally I thought it was unpleasant. I feel like you can make cool little puzzly / traditional levels. I feel like there's a lot of neat stuff with that. I know people have gone like the super hard route with it.
Mm-hmm.
But I think my favorite levels were the little cute puzzly ones.
For sure. Yeah, I like the traditional ones as well. I
Yeah.
just hate when they're like too go in the pipe, get this, and then go over here like what is it called? Not Megalovania, Metroidvania.
Metro, yeah, I got you. Yeah, no, I know what you're talking about. And I think the ones that balance, a nice little challenge packed into it, or, a fun puzzle element, I feel like that,
Mhm.
helps make up for it. But yeah, there's definitely some slow, boring ones.
For sure. Kinkerton, you got a question? I got a few.
I think he's on BRB mode.
Oh, he is.
He is. He just ducked out.
Hope he's all right.
Oh,
He's back. Don't
so
worry. Don't worry.
I had to pee so bad. Oh, I've been drinking water.
Okay, I just asked. Do you have a question? Because I can keep going, but
Let's talk about verses for a little bit, because you
Okay.
play a lot of verses.
I do.
Do you have a goal with verses? Do you have like a specific number you want to reach, or are you just playing it for fun? Or is there a
I
point where you think you'll stop?
I do not care about points. I mean, obviously, I want my points to go up, but for me, I feel like if I ruin somebody else's day, like that for me is more fun than plus 10 points in verses. Like I'll throw the points to do something funny. You know what I
right.
mean?
Yep.
Yeah. Because I mean, it's verses. Like, how do people take it seriously? Like obviously some people are better than others, but whatever your point total is not reflective of that. But there's this. I guess honestly, I feel like the people who care about the points are more just like kids.
Right.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, obviously, like I want to win. I want points. I just don't care if I don't have them.
I know my
Yeah.
goal was hitting S because I wanted the little jacket that they give you,
Yeah.
Mm.
and I hit
I
S and I quit playing.
I wear like the little baby onesie, and I
Yeah.
haven't gone for a cosmetic since that one. Like once I got that, it was done.
So, talking about people taking the game too seriously. If you probably remember, I think it was 2 years ago when people were trying to literally cancel you based on your actions in Mario Maker. What was that all about?
That was the funniest 48 hours I've had on Twitter. It was the funniest 48 hours. So some people got really, really mad. Like I think to this point, so what ended up happening is somebody was teabagging by the flag, and I ended up picking him up, throwing him backwards, and then I was just mouthing off after I won. But people were like, "No, that was a friendship crouch," and they were so mad because in verses there's people who will wait. This guy was just taunting me; he wasn't waiting. But there's people who will wait so that nobody loses points. But I feel like it's called verses, not friendship. You know what I mean? So like, I'm not waiting around. If you're
Right.
waiting by the flag, I'm gonna take it. And I think the younger portion of the versus community, saw that clip, and yeah, they were pretty mad.
That was a very funny chain of events to follow on Twitter. They're actually Red. I don't know if you went back and looked at the tweets, but they're tweeting out like
No.
cancel the Paco show,
Oh
cancel
my God.
Paco. It was great. He had a whole little Timmy hate mob.
It
Well,
just
when I
makes me
say a
think.
whole hate mob, it was like three or four people. But
No, there was like 12 people,
oh
probably
wow,
more. And there were even streamers jumping in taking pot shots. They're like, "This is a children's game and you called somebody a bitch?" And I'm like, "Yeah, of course I did." But they were jumping in trying to take the high ground, and it was for me, it was a funny 48 hours.
yeah. In your
Um
defense, the kids probably shouldn't have been being bitches then. You know.
I agree. But yeah, there
So
were there were a few people who I didn't expect who got mad. I won't say anything past that, but for the most part, I would say like 99% of people uh laughed it out.
Yeah, because that's kind of how I took it. Like watching the whole thing unfold, I was like, are they seriously trying to
Yeah, I
cancel a
mean
fella?
it's a game where the objective is to win, you know what I mean?
Exactly.
Like
Yeah.
imagine
yep.
watching a basketball game where somebody's, dribbling it when they're only up two and somebody steals the ball and they score. Of course they're going to go for that, you know?
Yeah.
It's
And
it's
again, that's on Nintendo for not making their like shit more like why not just give everybody equal points? Like why is I don't know. It just it doesn't make
So
sense.
so my solution to make it, that much better would be if you get to the flag and nobody else makes it to the flag, you get more points. But for every person who touches the flag, you
Yep.
get less points on your victory, which would incentivize people to, try to win instead of I mean that's why I think the number just doesn't matter. It's like we're
Yes.
all rising together. And it's like, okay, like what's the point of the number? Not number is meaningless. And you
Yeah.
even have people who will get like two switches and they'll level up against themselves, and I just couldn't imagine doing that. That just seems like a gigantic waste of time to get some number where
yeah.
nobody over the age of 12 will care that you got 8,000 because you spent 20 hours with your two switches.
Yeah,
That's
But
I was gonna say like I can't even imagine how much time is wasted in that community because I've played like maybe like an hour of verses and I was like this is terrible, like it's just laggy and it's not fun.
yeah, I
And
mean, yeah, but I mean, yeah, for going back to that, even if I wasn't competitive, just trying to win whatever game I'm in, I want to get into the next game. I don't want to
yep,
wait 2 minutes for little Timmy to make it to the finish line. I could have played two more rounds in that time.
exactly.
Yeah.
it's interesting people take it that seriously because literally my entire goal with versus was to get the cool jacket, to get the black jacket that they give out. And people are sitting here fighting
I
over numbers.
I will say if versus wasn't laggy and games were quicker to get into them, I probably would have played that more than endless. Like I think versus is great. It's really fun. It's just it's almost good. Nintendo almost knocked it out of the park.
Right.
But there's just a few things, like for example, the lag. Um, I think if you have, a bad internet connection, you shouldn't be able to play with people who have a good one.
Hmm.
Because I mean, if all it takes is one bad internet connection, and then everybody lags. And I don't understand the people who like every single game is a PowerPoint slideshow, and they're still queuing up for more.
Hold
Um,
on, what? A PowerPoint slideshow?
Yeah,
like
like you're moving one frame, every
Oh, I see
10
what you're saying.
seconds. Yeah. And it's like that's their experience every time. Why are they still here?
I
Yeah.
know Smash is peer to peer. Is Mario Maker peer to peer as well? Is that why it's so bad? Or are their servers just that bad?
No, it's peer to peer. So if one
Jesus.
person, doesn't route well to someone, because everybody has to be completely synced out.
Yeah,
And I
you're as
mean,
strong as your
I
weakest link.
I get that though, because for example, let's say it had to do prediction and you have a shell coming at you and you jump over it, but it's actually hitting you. People are gonna get upset with that too. Um, I mean, I think they could do a better net code, um, and just try to put people with good connections together, and
Mhm.
the people playing from the McDonald's Wi-Fi, just I don't know, have them queuing up for hours at a time before finding a match.
That's what well, Call of Duty did something where they in like the early days of Call of Duty, I guess, they had like one person actually host it, you know?
Yep.
That's what Mario Maker could do. And then when someone would leave it would say migrating hosts for 10 minutes.
Yeah, no, don't give them ideas.
I'm
And
sure
you,
they're listening.
they
Oh
are.
yeah, for sure.
All the Nintendo reps listen to this podcast. It's a very well established
Hmm.
professional podcast.
For sure, for sure.
We get over 100 big views, which is it's impressive for just starting out, I think.
Yeah,
I think
maybe.
that's pretty good. I mean, I feel like YouTube is one of those things where there's the snowball effect. Like when you're first starting out, yeah, even just having videos hitting 400 views, 100 views, etc. That's not nothing. And the algorithm recognizes that there's people watching, and it'll be more likely to suggest it out. So I think you guys are
Hmm.
doing a pretty good job.
Thank you. Um,
Yeah, thanks.
Talking about YouTube, what made you switch to Twitch? Did we already talk about that?
No, we didn't actually talk about it. I talked about how I got really lucky, where I built up an audience of a couple hundred people, really early on. But, a couple hundred people on YouTube, I don't know what it's like now, but it was miserable. It was so miserable because the chat experience, like Twitch, you're able to joke around, you got like inside jokes, you have, a community that understands the etiquette.
Hmm.
Whereas YouTube, you would have people coming in and I'd have, 10 people a minute saying, "Does streamer read chat? Streamer, can you say my name?" And then I'd have like Brazilians coming in screaming like Dilma, Dilma, and they'd be putting like Brazilian flag emoji. And it was just a complete dumpster fire. And so on the one hand, the chat experience was awful. And then there were also other things where, so I started on YouTube and I thought they were pretty much just gonna like mirror Twitch and try to, just do their own thing. But it felt like the people who were running YouTube gaming, it felt like they didn't want it to be successful because they just made so many inexcusably dumb decisions. And it got to a point where I said to myself, like, I don't think YouTube streaming is going anywhere. And so I decided to pack my bags and switch over to Twitch. And
Hmm.
it was a humbling experience because I went from having pretty big audience to I went from maybe like 300 people down to 50, 60 people watching me on Twitch, which is still quite a lot. If you
Right.
think about it, like 50, 60 people, and especially starting on the platform with that, you know, um, it's a lot. It's hard going from feeling like you're more established and on the up and up to trying to build it up again. But yeah, I mean, I'm really happy that those people came over, and a lot of them still hang out on Discord. They still hang out. They're part of the community. And shout outs to all those people like T Bird, Yessie, Yelly. Um, there's a bunch of OGs who are still around. Fearless Melons. All these people.
Yeah, I talked to my there's this Facebook streamer that uh does Mario Maker stuff, and he put it like everybody on those platforms, like, because they already have an account, they use it for something else, like on Facebook or YouTube. They're just so fickle, and they just will come in, They don't know what's going on. But like for Twitch, you have to like consciously create an account and be like, I'm here to watch the stream, and
Exactly. There's just sort of, etiquette involved into it. And then there were also issues where discoverability on YouTube, I was riding the algorithm, it was pretty good. But I'm thinking to myself, like long term, or if I ever want to diversify and play something other than Mario Maker, they didn't have a good directory or a good way to discover people. So you're pretty much pigeonholed into whatever you're playing. And I
Mhm.
mean, even today, on Twitch, variety or playing other games, it's hard. But on YouTube, you're dead in the water. You load up some random indie game. Nobody's gonna find you because YouTube's not gonna suggest it because that's not a game that people are searching for. Whereas on Twitch, you have a chance of people who like that game finding you, or even just you have enough people in the directories high enough up, somebody might be like, oh, who's playing this game?
Mhm.
Whereas opportunities like that just didn't exist on YouTube. I don't think they do now either, but I don't really watch live streams on YouTube these days. I
It's
don't
fair.
know.
How about the pre-recorded stuff? Like, do you enjoy doing that more?
I love the pre-recorded stuff. I like streaming more. Streaming is more fun, but the pre-recorded stuff, it's fun to make that content. And also it's a completely different audience. There's the people who watch your Twitch, maybe your background noise, maybe you're not. Whereas with the videos, there's a community of people who, they look forward to your uploads and
Right.
especially, so for me, it also depended on what I was recording. I thought 100 Mario was just like the perfect content to record and upload. I didn't enjoy Endless. Like I recorded Endless, I would say my heart wasn't in it as much. But whenever I
Yeah.
did 100 Mario, um, usually it was, I would record, most runs would take me anywhere from 45 to 90 minutes, maybe an hour and a bit. Actually, I got pretty quick at editing it, and then get it up. Um, I enjoy editing content, making content like that. But I mean, if I had to choose, just one or the other, I would do streaming for sure. But I think there's sort of like a spillover effect of you make content for YouTube, people find you there, they check out your Twitch. People watch you on Twitch, you're making content on YouTube, people check you out there. And I
Mhm.
think if you're doing content creation, you don't want all your eggs in one basket. But if you do more than one basket, I feel like you want to do a good job on whatever you're doing. So that's why for me, like I made the decision to do just like Twitch and YouTube, and then for social media, I post on Twitter sometimes. That's the only social media that I use.
Yeah,
Just because I
same.
don't I don't want to update other social media. That's not fun.
Yeah, it's so much work.
Yeah.
You got
So,
notifications.
talking about your YouTube content, I got a fangirl here again for a minute. I've watched pretty much every single upload that you've ever did on your main channel.
Whoa.
Pretty much. It's actually it's ridiculous.
Yo, that's awesome. Thank
Yeah.
you.
I'm a Paco expert, if you
Uh,
would. And some stuff that stands out to me is like these little mannerisms, I guess, that you have. I don't know if you'd call them mannerisms or like Pacoisms,
I guess so, yeah.
but or catchphrases even. But I'm gonna rattle a few off here and tell me if I missed any. So
Okay.
first off is no skipping, no tripping.
Shoutouts to Scottie Pippen.
Some more OJ sipping, if you will.
That's true. That's true.
And then why does she slap?
How can she slap? So I mean, you know where that comes from, right?
No.
No.
No. So there was this reality TV show in India, and I think the show was built around this host would come in and just insult people, and then she ended up slapping him, and he just starts yelling like, "How can she slap?" And whenever like a level, just does me dirty, all I can think in my head is like, how can she slap? How can she? And that's where that one came from. It
Wow.
That's where I made the connection.
Hold on, what was the origin of no sipping, no
Oh,
skipping, no
no
tripping?
skipping, no trip. I don't know. It would just be, like I would start all my videos with greetings, welcome, hello. I'm the Incredible Paco, and yada yada. And then I would just say, like we're gonna be doing some super expert, no skipping. And then I would just feel it, so I'd be rhyming it off like no skipping, no tripping, and then I just throw in randomly something that rhymes with in after. That's why I do like the Scottie Pippen, OJ sipping,
Yeah,
whatever I was feeling at the time.
it's so good. It's so musical. It just like it
It
just gets you ready
does.
to watch some watch some Mario.
Thank you. Yeah.
And then the other one's kind of tied to verses, but see ya, bud.
So, yeah. So the first time I said "see ya, bud," like whether it's verses or I'm playing ping pong or I'm shooting hoops, I just have a motor mouth. Like I'm always talking shit. I can't help myself. Like sometimes I'll say stuff where I see a clip or I'm editing it for YouTube and I don't even remember saying it. Like I'm perpetually talking shit, and so I just started saying "see ya, bud" to people who I was throwing into cliffs or doing them dirty, and that
See ya.
one, yeah, that one just sort of caught on, and I rolled with it.
I love it.
But I would also throw in the later and just stuff where like if anybody was to watch it back, they'd be like, I died to this guy,
Yeah.
stuff like that. But yeah, I can't help it. Like I just talk a lot of shit. I don't mean any of it. Like, for example, when people throw me into cliffs, or let's say I'm playing a shooter and somebody teabags on me, like I don't like it happening, but I respect it. I never get mad
Mhm.
at this shit. It's just that's part of what makes games fun for me. You know, just just the banter.
Definitely.
So we touched on games already a little bit, but we'll go into like a little bit more in depth. What kind of games did you play growing up? I know like
Okay.
Unreal Tournament and what else?
So yeah, I played Unreal Tournament for 15 years, and before that, I played Mario 1, Mario 2, Mario 3, Super Mario World, and then Donkey Kong Country 1, 2, and 3. Those
Oh,
were
yes.
those
Yes.
were the staples. So when I was a kid, I would just play. I played the crap out of like Super Mario World, uh, Donkey Kong Country 2, Diddy's Conquest. That was my favorite of the three, but I played all three of them.
Same. I
Um,
can't
but
agree more.
I'm also like, people have these rich gaming histories, and it's like I played Mario, Donkey Kong, and Unreal Tournament. That's pretty much where I came from. And then occasional indie games here and there, like Meat Boy was great. I played CS:GO for a bit, H1, Warzone, but I would say like the main staples were Donkey Kong and Mario and Unreal Tournament.
Hmm.
Right on.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we've talked about Donkey Kong Country 2, I believe, with Chess as our guest, but like that game has such a great vibe and like mood, and it just seems like it was
It's
made by like,
perfection. It's perfection. I think it's the best game ever made, just
yep,
in terms of level of polish, level design, difficulty, soundtrack, and even the playable characters like Diddy and Dixie. Like it's so good.
yeah, amazing.
I
Yeah.
really gotta play it. I've played the first one. I had it when I was a kid on my cousin's Super Nintendo. Cause like I'm 20 years old, right? I wasn't around during the whole Super Nintendo thing,
Yeah,
but
you're a youngin.
yeah. And we had one when I was growing up though. That was a kind of like a hand-me-down SNES.
I
So
mean,
I
that's
played
the best
game.
hand me down you could get,
Yeah, I still have
I
it
mean,
sitting right next to me.
I didn't get the stuff after. Like I didn't get an N64. I played my Super Nintendo until I got my PC.
The
And
Swear.
then
same Super Nintendo I had when I was a kid is the one that I use for ROM hacks now, and it's still holding up.
that's awesome. I actually
Um,
have an analog Super NT just because it's easier to hook up for streaming, etc.
Oh
But
yeah, yeah.
I still have my Super Nintendo. It's collecting dust, but I'm never gonna get rid of it.
The
But
analogs are great. They come out with like HD, right? They're all in HD. They're beautiful. They make a great picture. It's like you're playing on RetroArch, which is like, the top tier emulator. But
Yeah.
I'm a bit of a snob when it comes. I have a CRT television sitting next to me.
I actually got a CRT for Unreal Tournament because this was before, the 120 hertz LEDs became more accessible. Now actually I have like a 240 hertz, 1440p monitor. But back in 2012, I was lugging, two, 80-pound CRTs through downtown Toronto just because some dude was selling them for $10, and I was like, man, I'm gonna pwn some noobs with this. But
Those
yeah, I don't use that anymore.
those old games have a certain charm playing them on the intended software, But it's
I,
like it's
I just
awful.
liked it because it was like no
Hard
input
rating.
lag. It
Yeah,
was
exactly.
perfect with that. Yeah.
Yeah, I've been playing through Luigi's Mansion, but I'm doing it on an emulator, and it's just such a clear picture, and
Yeah.
it's beautiful. And I couldn't imagine playing that on a CRT. I feel like you can't appreciate stuff like that. But then with Kaizo, I want the frame perfect inputs, and I want no input lag, and I want the highest quality of gameplay that I can possibly have,
That's
just to like
fair.
be subpar at it.
Yeah.
But
Well, I'm not gonna say you're subpar. I mean, I've seen a lot of the stuff you make. You can't be subpar and put that together.
yeah. I mean, I typically try to stay around with ROM hacks specifically. I feel like there's a lot of really hard stuff out there, and both of my ROM hacks are like in a very accessible. I made a
I
beginner cape hack and a beginner platforming hack.
I like accessible. I mean, as I said, like I enjoy good hard stuff, but there's too much just hard stuff out there where it's
Mhm.
not like I can't beat it. I just like stuff that's, good challenge, not gonna take me like 20
Yeah,
hours to beat a level.
nobody's got time for it. Like
Yeah.
you want to experience the most in the least amount of time, right?
That's
So
a good way to sum it up. But like if it's really good, I'll spend more time on it. It's just lots of the super hard stuff. I think for me
right.
personally, it just ends up, more annoying than enjoyable.
A grind here and there is pretty fun though, I will say.
Yeah, for sure.
But
In the day, I used to do all the like the barb levels and the panga levels, and I kind of came to the conclusion after spending like 40 hours on a panga level. And this is back like when I used to like stream all the time. Um, I spent like 40 some hours on one of the panga levels. It's called Bum Bum Blaster. I don't know if you remember that, Red.
maybe
It's
no,
like a
no, I
night
don't.
airship SMB3 level. And
Oh yes, yep.
it's still to this day the hardest level that I cleared. It's like 32 clears out of like 300,000 or something. It's like some insane number.
That's pretty
And
crazy.
I watched him build that. That's like the
yeah,
one where like the red cannons like shoot stuff
and the
or
black
like
cannons don't. Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
I watched him build that.
Um, that's still the hardest level that I've beaten. And then I kind of came to the conclusion after beating that I do not enjoy playing hard levels. So I just like stopped grinding altogether and just strictly stick to like endless expert and making levels whenever I build levels once a year.
Trying to think what's the longest grind I did. I think 12 hours a level maybe
Ooh.
a couple times.
Was it
I
Mario Maker or was it
Oh yeah, no, Mario Maker. I also did Terrible Life Decisions by Amelia.
Oh god.
I think that one was a 10-hour grind, but only because after a certain point, I start losing focus after maybe like 4 or 5 hours. And so I was actually playing worse for the home stretch on that. But I was too obsessive to put it down. So
Did you get the
that's
clear on terrible life decisions?
I did. I
Oh
did.
my.
I had like
Props.
8 knives. It was yeah, I don't want to talk about it.
I think I
so
watched Ryu play that and I was like, I gotta give this a shot. And I was like,
It's
I think
it's a legendary
16.
Mario Maker level though. Like it's a
Yeah.
legendary one.
I was like 16 at the time and I was just getting so frustrated. That
Yeah.
takes me back.
Yeah.
speaking of hard levels, and going back to your Pacoisms, you
Mhm.
say this level needs to relax like quite a bit.
I do.
And
I do.
and also your ROM hack is called Calm Bros. And I'm wondering if there's any connection there or you just like naturally just want to be chill.
No, no. So Calmbros, the history of that name, one of my emotes is actually the ink calm. And it was a screen cap from a YouTube video where I have this just maniacal look on my face. And I thought it would be funny to put that as like my quote unquote calm emote. Um, And then when it came to naming the hack, I feel like too many hacks are named after people, and I wanted to just, give it a name.
Right.
And then like the hack itself is not calm at all. I just thought it would be kind of funny. Just like the emote is not that calm, the hack is not that calm. And that's
Right.
where it sort of went to in my head. But
The
yeah, a bunch of people,
juxtaposition.
whenever some like people play it, they're like, "This is not calm." It's like, yeah, you're right. But it also wasn't made to be, crazy hard either. But yeah, it's certainly not calm.
Mm-hmm. Well, cool. And then the relax thing, that was just kind of just you
Oh,
saying that?
just yeah, I mean, like sometimes levels throw some like off the wall type shit, and it's like, yo, level, like chill.
Right.
But they rarely listen, you know.
And another thing, like, so you're like super funny, you're super animated. That's like
There it
kind of
is,
like
right?
how I know you. What?
There it is. I put it in a podcast text chat.
That's a face I made in one of my YouTube videos. I don't even remember the context, but somebody screen capped it, and that's
Oh,
the
I've seen
ink
that
column.
around. I've seen that.
That's one of
Pretty
the
much
reasons
the opposite of calm.
Yeah,
all
you
of
look like super scary.
your emotes are pretty top tier, especially the ink howdy. That's like this is gonna sound really rude, but the howdy emote is like why I keep my sub because it's so much better than like the hey guys.
Oh, yeah, you know what? I'll take it, man. I'll take it. Thank you, though.
Obviously, I'm supporting the creator, but it's just I have to say like the ink howdy. It's just in my muscle memory.
I appreciate it. Yeah, no, I like the ink howdy. That one was made by Judd Lightyear. And then a lot of my other emotes are made by Wilson Penn and The Grime. So shout outs to all
Hmm.
three of them. And also, I got to give a big shout outs to Wilson Penn. I mean, I know I talked about him for Get Peach or Die Trying. He helped me a ton behind the scenes with that. But he also just released an SMB3 hack, which is exceptionally good. And he's one of the most underrated level creators, in my opinion. Maybe he's not underrated anymore. I think people are, seeing that he's a really, really dope level designer. I really like his style.
Nice.
Um, get up, get out, and get good.
Get up, get out, and get good. Yeah, that's the hack he dropped, and it's really cool. I like how we're seeing more SMB3 hacks and SMB3 content. It's really neat.
So
There hasn't been too much, and then it seems like we're getting more these days.
I dabbled with the SMB3 editor for a little bit. I was gonna make a ROM hack named after my friend Fryan B. I was gonna name it Fryan Bros, but it never
Nice.
came to fruition because again, I'm an SMW person. I'm familiar with their editor, and that's like like Lunar Magic.
Yeah.
And then I tried using the SMB3 editor, and I was just completely lost. There was all of a sudden like RAM storage you had to worry about, and all this
Oh
other
yes.
stuff.
So there's a better level editor now called Foundry, and I'm actually switching over and using it. But sometimes I still go back to the old one because even though it's, so unintuitive and so bootleg, um, I just know how to use it. Whereas on the new one, I sort of have to relearn a couple things. But the new one is a lot more intuitive, and it'll typically tell you if you're gonna, overwrite the limits. Because in SMB3, each level is X amount of kilobytes, and there's X amount of enemies. And if you go over, you start overwriting content like other levels later in the game.
Oh wow.
And so you have to know exactly how many bytes per level. And so Ha gave me an Excel doc. And then there was actually a reference made by Quick Curly, which tells you what you're going to overwrite if you go over. So in Calmbros, some of the levels exceed the limit. But I'm like, okay, I'm just chucking out this level now. Like this one's going to be a garbled mess. So I can't use 8.2 if I, go over 300 kilobytes on this level. Or I guess 300 bytes.
Hmm.
That's interesting. With Lunar Magic, it's like I can do whatever I want, Like there's
Oh yeah, there's
absolutely
so much
no
more
limit.
flexibility in Super Mario World. Like for
Yeah.
me, I kind of like the limitations. Like even for example, the number of enemies you can have on screen. There's even all sorts of issues where certain tile sets will conflict with other ones. So, you can't have two enemies in the same class on the same screen. And so there's all sorts of limitations, but I feel like limitations can push creativity.
For
So
sure.
that's something I like about it.
It makes the level short too. Like that's kind of why people bitch about the Mario Maker 2 uh level limit, entity limit, and it's like it's kind of nice. Like then you're not going to play a level that's like 2 screens long every single time. But
Yeah, yeah, no, I agree. Um, for me personally, like I like that shorter style of level. You can
mhm,
make longer ones, but I feel like in Calm Bros, I would say 90% of the levels you can beat in under 20 seconds.
right.
Um, I think the longest level is maybe like 30 seconds. So, and it's kind of built off of, SMB3. Like those levels are pretty, pretty quick. You get P speed, you can zoom through them. Um, I wanted just a bunch of like little quickies throughout it, and that's what I ended up with.
Yeah, I was watching it. It looks slick and cool and it just looks clean, like very simple, but like the movement is the interesting part. Like you're going around things and doing a whole bunch of like I don't know, power up kind of stuff. It's super cool.
Thank you. Yeah, that's kind of what I was going for. Just, like good old fashioned platforming with, a bit of item abuse here.
Hmm.
And yeah, I'm happy with how it turned out. And again, I already shouted out Ha. I got to give him another shout out. And even going back to when I was first starting, my first month in the game, because you put the wrong block down and everything crashes. And I would say I was in Ha's DMs like every 10 seconds, like, Ha, what did I do? He'd look at it, he's like, you put this block here that says do not place block, will crash game. And I'm like, I swear I didn't place that. But, after a while, I was able to, sort of start figuring it out, start getting a feel. But he was definitely instrumental in, me figuring it out and getting it done.
Was he like condescending sometimes, but he was always there for you?
Oh no, he wasn't. No, he trolled me. So this is actually a funny freaking Haas story. I would send him levels to test out and give me feedback, and
Yeah.
sometimes he would send the level back. And as I'm playing through it, I would hit a Kaizo block in my own level. Like he would troll me in my own level. So there's a couple Kaizo blocks in Calm Bros that are actually they were placed
Brilliant.
by freaking Ha, and I just left him in there. But yeah, he trolled the crap out of me. But yeah, definitely never condescending, but he was definitely doing funny stuff like yeah, throwing those blocks in.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
The
Um.
one, sorry, the World 6 airship, that
Mhm.
Kaizo there, that one I was just like furious because it took me, like 5 tries to figure out how to get past it. And once you know how to get past it, it's the easiest thing. But I was like, what the hell, huh? And so yeah, that one's still there. And
Oh,
people
you
come
kept
up
it.
with I kept all of them. There
Oh.
was also one in World 7 on a desert spike level where it's just the rudest Kaizo block, but it cracked me up when I hit it. And yeah, so there's not too many in the game, but I would say probably there's maybe like 8, and Ha plays 3 of them.
Yeah, I go back and forth on Kaizo blocks and whether or not I'm cool with them, but I think a well placed one is pretty funny in my opinion.
Yeah, that's sort of where I'm at with it too. And like once you know it's there, it should be easy to avoid. Like the
Yep.
Kaizo blocks where you know it's there and it's like, pulling teeth trying to get past it. Those ones are thumbs down. And I feel like a lot of people, don't place great Kaizos, so I feel like their levels would be better without them. But a good Kaizo is, in my opinion, funny.
I went through
Sure.
this creative phase where I was putting a Kaiser block on like every single jump. That's what I'm gonna
Very
call it.
creative.
A
Yeah.
creative phase. And I made this Ultra Star level. I don't mean to keep picking on Dan G, but he played a lot of my levels. And I was watching him. And he was playing the Ultra Star level and he hit the Kaiser block and he's like, alright, I'm gonna try to jump a little bit later. It's like, oh god. Because he was just gonna hit the next one.
That's funny. Yo, shout outs to my boy Dan G.
Yeah,
He's a
cool guy.
super entertaining guy.
I know he was hoping the Philadelphia 76ers would win a championship this year, but it wasn't in the cards.
So I had this whole section planned out for sports. I was gonna talk to you about sports, and then I realized I know fucking nothing about basketball.
Yeah, same. I know. I should because like my entire family like is obsessed with it, and I'm just like I could not care less. I'm sorry, but
See, I'm more of a baseball guy, so I could ask you a few. I could rattle off a few questions here.
I
Um,
watched the Jays win the World Series back to back in what, 92 and 93. Um, but other than that, yeah, I don't watch it too much. As a kid, I watched tons of baseball.
so a few basketball questions I had planned out in my head. If you
Okay.
were a basketball, who would you want to be dribbled by?
Who, like a player or just anybody in the
stupidest question.
uh
That's just, I'm not even
that,
gonna elaborate. That's just
It's
the whole
who?
question.
who would I want to be dribbled by?
Yeah.
Are we talking about like people in the Mario community or like just anyone?
Anybody. Any in the history of the
Anybody?
world.
I'm
Yeah,
trying to think of
living
somebody
or dead.
Yeah.
living or dead. I'd want somebody with a soft touch who would be delicate with me, and so I'm really struggling to. Who would I want? Who has soft hands? This is too hard.
This is the question
You,
that breaks Paco.
you know what? I want Mr. Bean to dribble me.
Mr. Bean. That's actually, you know what? I didn't think about that. That he probably does. He's probably gonna
How
do it
could
in a
you think
silly
about
way.
that? You gave me like infinite people to choose from. If you had thought of Mr. Bean, that would have been really weird.
He probably would do it in like a silly way. You know how like he holds his hands out to the side.
That's what I was thinking. I'd be part of the punchline. Everybody
Yeah.
would be laughing. We'd be having a good time.
Yeah, he'd like point at it like afterwards, and then like lean down and like look at the camera.
Yeah. Although I feel like the skit would end with, like the basketball going into traffic and being hit by a double decker. So maybe not Mr. Bean.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Man.
I don't know enough about sports, but what I do know a lot about is gardening. And I know you
Mm.
like gardening.
I
So,
love gardening.
what's your favorite type of plant to take care of typically? What do you find the best and most rewarding to take care of?
I like easy ones, to be honest. So I mean, I can do the more demanding plants. So I actually am growing a bunch of stuff. Raspberries, strawberries. I'm harvesting buckets of them. I tried growing blueberries, but I feel like they're finicky. So I'm just putting energy into other stuff. But for me, like my favorite things to grow are things that uh, they produce a lot of fruit and they're not too demanding. So yeah, I would say that the strawberries and raspberries are near the top. I also grow
What's
like hot peppers,
mm,
tomatoes, onions. I have like my veggie garden. I grow cherries, apple, pear. Um, got a bunch of stuff.
Yeah, I had a garden once with an ex-girlfriend of mine. Rest in peace. Actually, not really,
is she
but
dead?
The garden or the girlfriend?
no, but we had this like little.
I feel like there's gonna be more questions now. This is like the start of an investigation. It's like
Is she
I
under the
thought she was
garden?
on vacation. Yeah.
I don't garden anymore. She liked gardening, so I did it with her. Okay.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Gotcha.
Okay. So, um, she liked this like square foot gardening book. She had like you do it with like vermiculite or something and like volcanic rock or something, and it makes like the plants just get like super big and it's crazy and like produce a lot. Because it's like super high in nutrients and you can grow a crap load of stuff in a super small area. But like, um, she wanted to grow all these like carrots and like single use like plants, and I was like, I want to grow like tomato, like all the stuff you were mentioning, where it's like it has a high yield for a low effort, where you're just
Yeah,
like
for
water
sure.
the tomato, and you get like 100 tomatoes, and you barely do anything.
Yeah, like I mean, if it's cherry tomatoes, you get like 500 cherry tomatoes, depending on how big you let the plant get and how long your season is. But yeah, I think that's the problem with stuff like carrots. I mean, even like potatoes, carrots, some of the stuff where it's just not cranking out as much as if you were growing other things. Um,
Mm-hmm.
I don't grow carrots because I'm allergic, but I do have a
Oh,
couple
interesting.
lower. Yeah, so I actually became allergic when I was like 23, and I went over to my parents' house for dinner, and I'm like, I can't have carrots, I'm allergic, and my mom thought I just didn't want to eat them, but no, my lips like swell up and my tongue swells up, and that was actually around the time I started getting allergies in the spring. Before that, I never had them, but
Hmm.
then I saw that there's some like they're part of some root family, so carrots, parsley, I forget what else. I probably should be aware of it. Celery, all those things make my lips swell up. Like it's not like a huge allergy. It's just I'd rather they not do that.
You know, Kink, this would be a good segment to do every week, not just because it's interesting, but because like if they ever meet Paco or whoever, they can take precautions.
What?
Or if they don't like me, they come equipped with like carrots and
Oh,
shit.
that's true. Maybe it's like a double-edged
Yeah,
sword.
we
They like
should
rub
ask.
carrots all over their hands before shaking my hand, and it's
We just gave them all ammo to biologically
Yeah.
warfare Paco. Good job, Brett.
that's true. That's true.
Although versus players.
Yeah.
Oh, I mean, I don't shake hands with 12-year-olds. I'll be fine.
But they'll grow up.
Yeah, that's fine. I still won't shake hands with them.
You're just gonna run into someone one day. And they're gonna stick their hand out for you to shake it, and you're gonna feel a slimy substance on your hand. And
Oh
that's
my
the
god,
last thing you're gonna
juiced
see.
carrots. Yeah. That's
Okay, so you're pretty funny. I was gonna say this
thank
earlier.
you.
And you're animated and your stream kind of like showcases that. Like, who do you find funny? Or who in your past like was like a comedic icon to you, whether it be like a family member or a comedian or like a character from a movie or a specific movie or whatever?
Trying to
Yeah.
think in terms of comedic inspirations. I mean, when I was a kid, I watched, John Candy, people like that. But I wouldn't say he's an inspiration. Mr.
Hmm.
Bean was always funny. I watch people like that. Um, in terms of streamers I watch who I think are funny, Barb always cracks me up.
Hmm.
Thab, I told him when we hung out at MMC, I told him he was low key hilarious, and I think he said, forget what he said in response, but it cracked me up too. Um, but also in terms of me, I feel like the person you see on my stream, like the animated part, that's just kind of who I am and how I am. The only thing is if you saw me off stream, I'm not like that all the time. You know what I mean? Like I feel like when I
Right.
stream, I tap into that person, but like off stream, depending on, the setting you catch me in, uh pretty low key sometimes, but also I'm kind of like a mixed bag, you know what I mean? Like sometimes I'm on and I'm more entertaining. Other times I just like, chilling.
Right.
So the people who know me, like they see sort of every side to me. Like there's the people wouldn't believe it. There's like a quiet introspective side to me.
I'd believe it.
But oh, okay. Then that goes against my point if people wouldn't believe it. But yeah, just kind of a mixed bag. But I would say like the part of me I tap into on stream, like that's a part of me that I like, you know?
Right.
I definitely enjoy being more like upbeat, but then obviously like nobody could be like that 24/7.
Right. It's kind of
So
like something you just like not get out of your system, but like want to like experience from time to time. You
yeah,
know?
for sure. But like yeah, I've also had people on stream be like, "Oh, this guy's faking it." No, like whenever I do something, I'm into it. It's just uh I'm just not on 24/7, you know?
Hmm.
And that's something where like even in the stream, so I haven't streamed in a bit now, but like whenever I was streaming regularly, if I ever had days where, I wasn't feeling on, I would rather cancel a stream than, put on a bad show.
For sure.
So that's just that's always been kind of my philosophy. And I feel like I've seen streamers, sometimes where like somebody's having a bad day and they still go live and you tune in and it's kind of like uncomfortable and miserable. I feel
Yep.
like I never want to do that.
I've
So
seen that all too much. And
I feel
especially when
bad
they're
for
like,
people. I feel bad for people, but it's like my best advice I could give is like, people watch streams, for entertainment.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're in like a bad headspace, it's tough, like for me personally, like I would never want, people to see me like that.
For sure. No, and especially like when you're like this far into the life cycle of like Mario Maker 2 or whatever it is, but like when you're just like bored of the game you're playing, and like you said earlier with like you can't switch games now. Like or it's very hard to switch games.
For
So
sure.
you just get stuck into this like rut and you feel like it's the only thing you can do, and it definitely comes out sometimes on stream for some
Yeah.
people.
But I mean for those people who feel stuck, like I think the best way if you want to play other stuff, play Mario for the first 2-3 hours of your stream, and for like an hour or two play something else.
Right.
But then people will like start with non bread and butter things. And when people don't show up, they get really discouraged. But I mean, if you're starting with non bread and butter, like you gotta expect it, you know?
Definitely.
Like
Yeah.
like for me, I don't take it personally. It's something you learn as a streamer. The fact that I'm somebody's first choice when I'm playing Mario, like that's really cool. But there's some streamers when they play certain games, I'm just not as interested. And that's how your audience is gonna work. Like you gotta build that interest, and I feel like it's a good idea to try do it slowly. But yeah, it's tough.
Cool. Yeah, no, for sure. Do you want to do what's it called, questions?
Twitter?
Twitter questions? Yeah.
Yeah. Do you guys have anything else you want to add before that?
I think I'm good on my end, but
Man, I got a motor mouth. I can keep talking. You guys will be here all night if you let me sign.
yeah, I mean, this has been really fun for
Yeah.
sure. We'll have to have you back if you're down in the future.
I'm down. Yeah.
All right. So the first question. So there's like a bit of a running gag here. If you haven't watched the last two episodes actually is when it started. This is gonna sound completely ridiculous to you, but I just want your honest opinion.
Okay.
What condiments would you put on a previously in orbit hot dog to maximize flavor, tastiness, and or profit? From Buckaroodle 610.
Ketchup? I don't know. That's all I put. Like whenever I go and I don't eat too many hot dogs, but whenever I do, I put ketchup in. That's it.
So
So I'm gonna be
Wow.
biased, and I'm gonna say ketchup.
so the
Ketchup
history
guy.
behind that question is when we interviewed Chess, Buckaroodle asked, "How would you throw a hot dog into space?" And Chess answered very gently. And then last week, or 2 weeks ago rather, Mark Alarm got the question, "How would you retrieve a hot dog from space?" And then he said, "Carefully." And then,
Huh.
so the ketchup is what you'd put on a hot dog that was in space.
And as long as Chess throws it delicately, we shouldn't lose too much.
Exactly, yeah. So you have a whole team of hot dog space making people, You can open up a restaurant, the three of you.
Hell yeah.
You can call it Chess
Space
Mark
Dogs.
Paco, or Space Dogs.
I think Space Dogs is the way to go.
Space
with that.
Dogs would be an excellent themed restaurant, but I feel like people would feel like or think that you serve dog, so maybe that's
Yeah,
not
we
the
don't
best.
we don't want that, dude. I mean, imagine the Google reviews if they get that idea.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
no, it'd be like I mean, there's like the hot dog emporium already. So is one themed hot dog restaurant already too much?
I don't know.
That's the that's the question of the podcast.
Probably not. There's like a million sub shops and like
Yeah.
I don't know.
All
I think
right.
it's fine.
I hope Buckaroodle keeps asking hot dog questions because I
I'm sure they will.
I personally really enjoy them when they come up. Just because of the confusion the guest gets.
I think the basketball, like, who would I want dribbling me? That was
That was the
definitely, yeah. I mean, I was just thinking, like, I started, racing through a million possibilities. I just never considered, who I would want, paddling my ass if I was a basketball.
I wish I could ask you more interesting sports questions, but I don't know too much
That was a good one. That was
That
a
one
good
takes
one.
the cake, man. I mean, that one's good.
Yeah.
Alright,
All right, next
so
Twitter question.
yeah. Little Gordo says, not a question, but Paco was the first streamer I ever saw play one of my levels on stream, and it meant a lot, and he just wants to say thank you. That's nice.
Yeah, that's really nice. I feel like people say really nice comments, and I mean, as a streamer, I don't know, that's cool. Yo, shoutouts to Lil Gordo.
Awesome. Jank Pickle asks, when's Super Calm World? We gotta get a new Paco hack.
Okay, the reason there will never be a super calm world is because calm is dead. I'll never do a sequel because the thing is, it'd be like too much pressure for me. I spent thousands of hours making Calm Bros. I'm like really proud of it, and I feel like if I tried to top it or do something that I thought was as good as it, I would be miserable.
Hmm.
So I'll never do a sequel, and I'll never say never about making a Super Mario World hack. But I feel like SMB3 still feels really unexplored, whereas Super Mario World, like the people who are making content for it, they're so good and they're so far ahead. And I feel like it would take so long for me to make something that was worth playing.
Right.
So I'm probably gonna be sticking to SMB3 for now. But I mean, I'll never say never. Maybe I get inspired, but um, yeah.
Nice. I was actually gonna ask about that earlier, but I forgot if you've ever considered making a Super Mario World ROM hack.
I considered, I mean, like, I downloaded Lunar Magic. It's just, I feel like there's so many exceptional hacks being made all the time.
Yeah, it's
And
hard to
just,
stand out in that
I
community.
mean, yeah, exactly. Like, even just for me as a level creator, I want people to, like, play my stuff based off of, like, merit. I mean, I stream, I have a YouTube channel. I feel like my stuff will get played, for that reason alone. But
Hmm.
like whenever I make stuff that, I'm proud of, like I want it to stand on its own, and I don't think I could do something like that. Super Mario World.
Yeah, I got super lucky with mine because nobody really made a beginner K-Pack. I guess, well, there's one, but it's like a learning K-Pack.
Yeah,
And then I come along and release a baby easy K-Pack where you're, actually doing cool things and not just learning.
you filled a niche.
Yeah, and everyone was like, "Oh, dude, you gotta play Stardust. It's awesome." And
That's dope, man.
yeah, it was an honor to have people actually go and recommend. And then there's a K-Pack that came out recently, and they put in the credits that they were inspired by me, and I was like, "Oh," nearly
That's
teared up.
me. That's
Yeah,
me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
exactly.
I think there was two moments like that in my life where I was like just beyond excited. The first time I was when I saw it was Mike T. Mike. I don't know if you've heard of him,
I
Paco, but
I I know Mike. Yeah, I know.
yeah,
We,
cool.
we 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 chat sometimes.
He's a cool guy.
He's
Yeah.
a cool guy.
He played my level, and I was like, "That's the thing I made, and it's on the screen." I was like going nuts, you know. And the second time was when Thab followed me because like nobody knew me, and Casper 189 recommended Thab to him or recommended me to Thab, and I was like, and then he followed me. I like jumped up. I was like, heck yeah, man, we did it! Like
Oh, that's dope.
I'm like a real creator now or something. I don't know,
Yeah,
but
you got your
You're
it
you're
was
creator
Thab
super
tag.
validating.
certified.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Like if somebody like Thab who's played like a million hours of this game and he's like, this is great. Like this is worth following. Like that's high praise. And
Sure.
yeah,
Well, so that's
but
cool
sorry,
that Casper recommended you. Casper makes some really good stuff in
he does.
Mario Maker as well. There's so many talented creators.
Mm-hmm.
All right, the next question is from Hudson SMM. What is your favorite video game soundtrack?
Okay, Donkey Kong Country 2,
Yep.
but if I'm not going with that one, I feel like Underdog soundtrack is VVVVV. That soundtrack's just a banger start to finish. I think it's PPPPP is what the audio track is, but that one's my underrated favorite soundtrack.
That's the gravity game, right? Like when you're flipping up and down.
Yeah, yeah. That's it.
Have you ever played Fez?
I have not. That's the one made by Phil Fish.
Yep. And
And
the soundtrack to that is just incredible. It was made by Disaster Piece. He does a lot of, or they do a lot of other games.
I forget what it was. I feel like so back when I first started streaming and making YouTube videos, you had to get permission from studios, and they didn't have blanket statements because things evolved to the point where everybody wanted you playing their stuff, except for Nintendo, who didn't really encourage people until maybe 2017 or 18. But I feel like he had something condescending about people playing his games, and
Yeah.
I feel like he said some weenie shit, and I was like, okay, well, I'm just not gonna play your game, and
Right.
I never played it, but I think it looked kind of cool.
Oh, Phil
But
Fish is the one
yeah,
who said Fez 2's canceled, goodbye, right? That was
Yeah,
his
pretty
famous
much.
tweet.
Yep.
yeah.
That's why people
I
started
mean,
calling me Phil Fisherton, because I canceled a ROM hack.
oh wow.
Oh.
That's why Blonde was calling me that, right?
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah,
That's beautiful.
Phil Fisherton. I didn't realize that was okay.
Well, whatever.
Yeah.
Video game lore.
Yeah.
Alright, so the next question is by Bernie Sandwich. That's
Okay.
an interesting name. Bernie Sandwich. Life on the line. 100-man pixel perfect level or frame perfect level?
We talking Mario Maker 2 pixel perfect?
I'm guessing they said 100-man, so probably Mario Maker
Oh,
1.
100-man pixel perfect. Ooh, that's tough. That's tough. I mean, life on the line, I'm screwed. If it's pixel perfect or frame perfect, I'm screwed.
Like, gun
I
to
feel
your
like
head, you have to do this right now.
I'm doing frame perfect. I'm doing frame perfect. I feel like
Mhm.
maybe there's stairs at the end, and I could maybe pull a rabbit out of my hat.
Or like a frame jump or so. Is that pixel perfect? I'm guessing that's frame perfect because it's called a frame
Yeah,
jump.
frame perfect would be like a speed run where you slow down anyway. Um, you're toast. And I mean, people can do stuff with conveyors, maximizing momentum off of like a blue coaster. There's all sorts of stuff to make things insanely tight. But I would probably go for that.
What are the frame perfect Mario Maker 2 tricks?
Are there any?
I don't know.
Because P-switch jumps aren't frame perfect.
I think with buffering of jumps, there's nothing frame. Maybe there is actually. I'm not sure.
There's if you do a
But I,
blue platform and then a row of munchers and then another blue platform like overlapping the row of munchers, I think that might be frame
I
perfect.
I don't think so because you could like buffer your jump before landing.
Oh,
Um,
okay.
I don't know how it would be going through door if you could set up stuff like that. Like I know in Mario Maker 1, there were all these frame perfect tricks where you're going through a door and then you want to jump before landing on the spike. And I actually hated that trick. I detested it. But then in Mario Maker 1, I actually would practice stuff. Like I practiced mid-airs, I practiced frame tricks.
Mhm.
Um, but once I learned how to do it, it wasn't that bad. Like once the like tiny circle shows, you like flick your thumb over both jump buttons. I could get them pretty consistent. I do like 10 in a row.
So, are you an A jumper or a B jumper?
I'm an AB jumper.
Oh,
What?
Hold on, hold on. I'm holding. So I'm XA typically, but
Oh,
my
really?
thumb, I'll like fat thumb it, and I'll hit both buttons if I need to. I'm typically XA, but there's times where it's useful to be able to hit B and A at the same time, and I just roll the thumb.
Interesting.
alright, so the last question we have here is by Chris America. You have fostered a very kind chat community for your streams. Does this happen organically based on your content, or is it something you constantly have to work at?
I think it's a bit of both. So I feel like, you know, certain people are maybe more attracted to my stream, but then as a streamer, you also have to, be able to like set expectations for what's acceptable, what's unacceptable. And I think a lot of streamers, a mistake they make is they don't want to chase people off because, like they're trying to get started. Maybe you have like a few viewers. Um, you don't want to lose 20% of your audience. You know what I mean? But I think it's important to be like selective. Like if people are making inappropriate jokes, call that shit out. Or if people are just doing stuff that you don't like, you know, tell your mods the expectations. But like for example, if they don't see it, then just enforce it yourself. And I feel like if you send that message from the top down, then people sort of pick up on it. But I
Mhm.
feel like I'm super lucky. Like all sorts of really cool people have found my content, and man, I'm getting sentimental just talking about it. But I seriously I love my community.
Heck
All of
yeah.
them are dope. Some of them more dope than others, but all of them are pretty damn dope.
Right. Yeah, I know who that is. You don't have to say my name or anything.
Oh, okay, okay.
Yeah.
I didn't want to butter you up, live on
Right.
this podcast, and then
Yeah.
yeah.
You're already welcome back again. Okay, let's just leave it at
Oh,
that.
okay, okay.
All right, but that's unless you have anything else to add, Red.
No, I'm good.
All right. Do you have anyone you want to shout out or anything you want to talk about before we close things up here, Paco?
I don't want to shout out anyone really, because once I do, then I'll forget people, and people will be like, "What the heck? I didn't get a shout out." Um, but I do want to shout out my community. As I said, I've been doing this for a long time. I've met all sorts of great people, people I call friends. And I mean, honestly, I just get excited to see people, whether I'm getting like a tweet from them, whether I'm seeing them in Twitch chat or Discord. Um, Shout outs to, the people who watch my content, play my levels. And shout outs to Big Red Boy in Kinkerton for this dope idea
Ooh,
for a
Heyo.
Mario podcast.
Red, that's us.
I
That's
know.
you guys.
I know. That's crazy.
Uh,
All right, that's awesome. Thanks everyone for listening. I really appreciated it. Someone noted that I always say thanks for watching, even though it's a podcast.
It's true.
So thank you
I
for
mean,
listening.
don't change who you are.
That's true.
You could just stare at the screen of the image. You could just
That's
watch it.
true. Yeah.
That's true. I mean, it's being posted on YouTube. People are watching.
Yeah. Okay.
Maybe there's auto-generated subtitles and people are reading along.
Oh God, that'd be a train wreck.
Yeah.
Eh,
Aren't they usually
true,
pretty bad?
true. They've gotten surprisingly better.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
they
know
have.
like rewatching a few of your videos, you have subtitles on. Do people go through and like do that?
So
Because they're pretty accurate.
Rogue Tree and Rixus helped me out a bunch with that. They went through, made them more accessible.
Nice.
Um, I did a couple myself as well. Um, but yeah, I mean, I post too many videos to keep doing that. And by
Right.
I post too many videos, I mean I haven't posted in a bit, but in general,
Yeah.
it's tough. And I mean, YouTube even took away the feature for people to be able to, contribute. So
Oh, really? I didn't
yeah,
know that.
yeah.
Yeah.
Before people could go through and throw in the subtitles, and then YouTube's like, this is a useful feature. We should deprecate it. And
Yeah.
then now it's gone.
Of course.
I bet you anything that was like a like machine learning thing, like the all the time that were doing that, like I'm pretty sure the machine was like guessing, and then they could like compare it to like what the person actually wrote, and
Oh,
then they could
maybe.
like
I mean,
train the computer to do that.
it did get quite a bit better.
Yeah.
I think even on my stream, there's some like extra attachment that I think uses Google. And then so I have it that, people who are watching me on mute, it's transcribing what I'm saying. It's not perfect, but if you're on mute and you want to follow along, it's better than nothing.
For sure.
All right.
Well,
Well, I think that's a good place to call it. Yeah, so once again, thanks everyone for watching and listening and just being here on this journey. There.
mhm.
I think that's a better way to put it.
Yeah.
I want to thank the incredible Paco for coming and sitting down with us over Discord. We're not in person. Um, I'm gonna scratch that. That sounded really weird.
It was a bit weird, but I think you should keep it.
All right, then we're keeping it.
Yeah, we're keeping it.
We're keeping it.
Yep, just completely raw 2 hour footage just going up.
Was mine longer than other
It's
people?
Yours is long, but I don't think it's the longest.
Mark Alarm, I
Okay.
think, was the longest.
It was great the entire time through, though. So
Yeah.
I wouldn't worry
Okay,
about it.
okay.
I don't think I'm gonna be
Perfect.
cutting much. I think I'm just gonna upload most of it raw. Just some like pauses and when I had to go to the bathroom and you guys are talking to me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It was
Stuff like
mostly
that.
just bad things about you. We were just like trashing on you
Oh
and you
my
couldn't defend
god.
yourself. Yeah.
Right.
If you guys don't hear it, he cut it, and that's like super messed up. Like that's a messed up thing to do as an editor. But
I get paid to edit for a living. I gotta make everyone look good, including myself.
oh, okay,
Mm-hmm.
okay.
So it's just in my
We'll let it
nature,
slide then.
to
Yeah,
make myself look amazing. So
nice. Well, if you
All
guys
right.
don't hear it, then Kinkerton did good.
yeah, there you go. All right.
Cut it.
So
Cut it. End it.
Yeah.
All right. I'm gonna see you later, everybody. Thanks for watching.
yeah, thank you so much
Goodbye.
for watching. Take it easy. We'll catch you next week with, I believe, Mike T. Mike.
All right.
And yeah, thanks for watching. Bye.